Welcome to your Joyful Life Podcast, episode 17. You don't just need a better story to be happy. We're back.
We're back.
Hello, everyone. This is your Joyful Life Podcast. This is my friend Mike. I'm Evan. And
this is episode 17.
17, yeah.
Right on. Closing in on 20.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. We often like to start with a question, but today we've got something else we're going to do. So you and I are part of a little men's group in our town. And right at the end of our last get-together, one of the gentlemen asked a fun question that got us. We didn't have time to sort of go through it, so we talked a little bit after, and now we're going to have the other part of the conversation. He was asking about different, I guess, spiritual interpretations. He was asking about kind of where consciousness comes from, and he was referring to like a Buddhist perspective, and then the perspective of Advaita Vedanta, which is like a Hindu school of thought. We're not going to get into what those are because neither of us are experts, and we wouldn't do them justice. But I think the sense that you and I both had was that in terms of his own search, I think what struck us was that it sounded a little over-intellectual in a way that probably wasn't helpful. And that's not to say that nothing is right or that you shouldn't think about things, but, and I know this from my own experience, having, explored, Buddhism and yoga and other, spiritual disciplines, they all come with frameworks and cosmologies and sometimes deities and ideas that are largely cultural from where they came from, but that also cross cultures as they evolve over time. And I think where you and I got after the meeting was that some of that may not be helpful and may be distracting. So I don't know where you want to go from there, but I thought we would sort of, just continue that conversation and see where we end up. And I may play devil's advocate, having been on both sides of this thing. So,
so have I.
Yeah.
So have I. I think the intellect is a fine tool when wielded responsibly.
Oh, okay.
I think when we're talking about, when we get into questions around who we are, who we're being, what's behind the meat suit, these kind of questions, I'm not sure that the intellect is the right tool for the job. And I think what often comes along with a reliance on the intellect, first off, it's innocent. It's the tool that we're most familiar with. So that's the one that we use to try to figure most things out. I think what gets lost when we lean too heavily into an intellectual ability to comprehend something in order to get it so that I'll get it and that'll make me feel better.
Right.
Is that it doesn't work. And I mean, we're all going to have experiences from our own life where we've spent a ton of time trying to figure something out, only to realize that when I wasn't thinking about it, the answer showed up. So for someone, from this conversation, I think the question was geared around, if I understand consciousness better, then my meditation practice will improve.
Right.
I think was sort of the question. And it's like, well, I mean, the first thing that comes up is, is that true? And what does one have to do with the other?
Right.
Right. Like, huh? So I find that when I mean, I come from good German stock, right? Like my father's East Prussian. I say that to get to this, which is, I grew up with a strong sort of emphasis on the intellect and understanding and logic and all that kind of crap. And I shouldn't say crap, all that stuff. And when it comes to knowing myself better, which I think is what ultimately this question was leading to, is a desire to know myself better, and this person phrased it in terms of, well, improve my meditation practice. But my guess is, had we had time to look at that a little bit more, I've been, so that I know myself better. I don't think the intellect is the right tool for that. I think that kind of knowing comes, I think the knowing of oneself and what I'm describing as better comes from a place which is before personal thinking. It's about connecting with something other than your brain.
Yeah.
Connecting to and through something that isn't your brain. It's interesting, trying to, if I only understand this better, then I'll feel better. If I only get this, if I can only make this make sense.
Yeah.
And I think people and myself, I've spent an inordinate amount of time trying to figure things out in the hopes that I'll feel better.
Yeah. Yep.
And it just didn't work. And then, from one moment to the next, I felt better and everything looked different, and it had nothing to do with my intellect. It had to do with a feeling that struck me.
Yeah.
And I think we've innocently sort of created a society that values the intellect above intuition, or there's a quote attributed to Einstein, which I can never remember, but it's something along the lines of, the intellect is supposed to be the servant of intuition, and we've got it reversed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think it was Einstein, but sorry for that. It's become a curiosity to me why we put so much emphasis on our ability to intellectually understand something.
Yeah, I think I was reading something about how, I think it goes back to the Enlightenment and the scientific method, and we became rational. Western society became rational and largely materialistic, not materialistic like stuff, but that you can measure everything, because our science demands that you be able to run, repeat experiments on the same thing and control all the variables.
And just to be clear, there's a time and place for that.
100%.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't be having microphones and phones and satellites with it. Yeah, that stuff's pretty important. It's not to throw it out, but what science did was say we can't really deal with much that we can't measure. And actually, at the meeting, one of the guys mentioned that at physics conferences now, there's a lot more talk about consciousness.
300 some odd versions of consciousness.
There's a bunch of theories of what consciousness is.
Right.
But so it's like, not that science got to an end of itself, but it seems like we are running into situations where we know there is something there that our current, not that science doesn't understand, but that the scientific method can't get at.
Right.
You cannot measure consciousness through the current scientific method because it's an internal experience. And so we're going to have to develop we're going to either have to compromise the rigidity of science, or we're going to have to come up with new ways to measure it or something, because we all intuit that there's something going on in here. And just because science says I can't prove it, we cannot define what consciousness is. We are all having a conscious experience. So we can't say, I guess I'm not having this experience because science doesn't know what it is.
Right.
Right. I'm still having the experience. Right. But I don't think getting whether we are a simulation or brains in a vat or whatever other number of those things are, we're just part of the algorithm. None of that's going to make us happier or give us purpose, I don't think. Right. We're still having the experience, and there are things that feel good and things that don't feel good. And the story, I don't know if the story is going to help. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I had, a couple of years ago, I was studying, I got interested in sacred geometry.
Oh, yes.
And at one point, I sort of told myself this story about how the universe started with geometry. And in my head, I could sort of imagine how it all mapped itself out into, beings and differentiation and consciousness. And it got to me. And the first time I did it, I had this oh, this is so magical. Wow. And then it didn't go anywhere because it's just a story in my head. And even if it's 100% true, I still have to go get groceries. It doesn't help. The story doesn't help. The only thing that changes is the experience I'm having in this moment.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. It sort of points me towards a distinction between knowing and believing. When you know something, right, wrong, or otherwise, it's a felt you know it because you experience it, you feel it, and the intellect and belief always requires further substantiation. So you hold a belief, and then you always have to sort of prove that belief over and over and over again. And I think that gets in the way of seeing past it all towards whatever it is that is before thought. The intellect is such a powerful tool. It's just not the right tool for everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's very natural. Like I said, it's really natural to try to use the intellect as a way of understanding, we're using the word consciousness in this example, but, to understand yourself or understand the world, whatever it is, we use the intellect for that. And we lose sight of the fact that our experience is a felt one.
Yeah.
It's not an intellectual experience. It's a felt experience. And it's just, you have a hammer, but I don't know, you should be using a cookie cutter to make cookie. I don't know. I guess, a hammer versus
something else for
hammer
something
and
else.
Screwdriver would have been a better example to use. But, it's amazing. The commitment that people have to the intellect. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. The intellect is, no microphones, no conversation. But my experience was that, my 2015 experience was well beyond the intellect. There was nothing that I intellectually understood there. I was listening to an audio tape, and then the next minute, my world was absolutely different. And, having gone back over that audio tape many times, there's nothing there.
Right. It's interesting how that works. Yeah.
It's So this thing this experience that absolutely transformed my life and the way I create life and view life came from somewhere other than my thinking about it.
Yeah.
It didn't come from, in fact, whatever understanding I think I have didn't come from understanding anything better.
Yeah.
Right. It was, something shifted, and with that shift came understanding, or came a different possibility of understanding.
Yeah. I had a similar experience when I was a teenager. I was walking in the ravine behind my house, and it was nighttime, and it had rained, so there were drops of water on the branches.
Yeah.
And I looked in one of the drops and saw the reflection. And it was I had this holographic experience because
LSD will do that.
It might, but I was this was not in my system at the time.
Right.
But I had this sort of holographic the entire universe is inside this drop. And then when I looked back, so I woke up and it was it was HD before HD was a thing, and I could just see every particle.
Yeah.
And since that time, every time I see a drop on a branch, I stare into it, hoping to have the same experience. And there's no, I can't explain it. I don't know what. It was one of the most powerful experiences of my life, but my brain was not involved in that experience, other than after the fact, trying to
make sense of it.
You make sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot lately. I've been reading that book, The Energy Codes by Sue Morter, and she sort of flips our, not hierarchy, but so we think we're consciousness that has a body that is part of this energy system.
Right.
That's usually how we kind of think about things. And she flips it on its head and says, we are energy first.
Right.
That is embodied in a body.
Right.
And then the mind is a product of that. And we are trying our our instinct is to get back to that wholeness of being an energetic being that's not separate from anything.
Mm-hmm.
And our mind is the bottom, like the bottom rung as the tool.
So when you say when she's referring to our mind, you're talking brain?
Personal thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing. So she describes, she's like, we're energy beings. We get born here, and she calls it splat. We get like our energy, our sense of wholeness and our physical body and our mind become separate things to us. Now, like I have a body, my brain is thinking, I have a sense that I'm trying to reconnect to something, but those are separate things.
Right.
And so when you say the mind is the wrong tool, it's because it's like the low rung on the totem pole.
Right.
And if we can't get back to being that sense of an energy being immediately, the body is the better tool. And that's why feeling, why feeling is more important and more valid than the mind. So we are
I like that.
Like, yeah, but the mind is the thing that's sort of scared when it wakes up. It's like, what the hell is all this? I used to be a thing. I used to be part of a whole. Now I'm separate. I don't know what's going on. What's dangerous?
I used to have meaning.
And so it's our minds that sort of take over. And yeah, like you said, it's the wrong tool for all of these jobs. It wasn't designed to do what we're doing to it. It was designed to build houses and microphones and whatever else, but
navigate cities or whatever.
Yeah, but for ourselves to sort of return to that thing that we originally were, our bodies are much better tools because they can feel things.
Well, that's probably why historically so much of the direction in looking has been feel your way there, not think your way there.
Right.
It's again and again and again. It's don't think, to do is like the Zen master with a stick, right?
Yep.
Which was lost.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned that to a few people that weren't aware of the Zen tradition of whacking you with a stick when your meditation goes off the rails.
Oops. Yeah. But we're never really, traditionally we're not admonished, we're not encouraged to think harder on it. We're not really encouraged.
Depends, yeah.
So historically, when looking in the direction of who are we really, or what is the true self, the advice is never, think harder on it. It's always think less about it.
Right.
Go sit in the woods, or go and wash the pots, or go take a piss, or what. It's take the intellect out of it. And I think you're right that separation or the mind is the lowest rung, and then if we go mind, personal thinking, ego, then postulating here, maybe the ego keeps itself relevant and important by yelling in a loud voice and making it all about itself, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens if just shrivel up and go away?
Yeah, there's a lot of meditation teachings talk about that's the resistance that you feel, because as you deepen in your meditation, you become closer to that oneness, and then your ego literally feels like it is dying.
Yeah, the self. Well, I guess that's Singer talks about death. I mean, lots of traditions talk about death of the ego.
Yeah,
that or removal of the ego, which is funny because to me, ego has come to mean just the I, like the etymology of ego is just the self, it's I. Mm-hmm. And then Freud came along and kind of fucked it all up. But so I've taken, when I think about ego, I sort of go, okay, well, it just means I, it just means self, sense of self, or I. I don't think that's problematic. I think that the sense that for me personally, I can, the aspect of I, the meat suit, is not in conflict with the I that is everything else.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right.
Yes.
There's no conflict for me.
It's an
there.
And, not a nor. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's both and.
Yeah.
Not one or the other. So I don't feel any conflict there. So my ego can go ahead and die at any time.
Right.
Come on, I'm waiting.
So the sort of second part of the conversation we had that we didn't actually have, but maybe we can have now, is
right.
If that intellectual pursuit is, I don't want to say a dead end, but it's probably not going to get you the sort of embodied difference that you want, understanding, which version of consciousness is true, is probably not going to lead to greater happiness. What does? we talked about it a little bit, but
yeah, I kind of knew that was coming. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that there is a prescription.
Maybe not a prescription, orientation, or yeah. I'm not asking for a 5-step plan. You won't believe number 4, but
I think so. When I think about the part of the conversation that I was privy to, I wasn't there for the second part of the conversation, but I think it would be follow the feeling. It would be, I'm looking up there, it says feel more. I think feel more, think less.
Yeah.
Right? Trust yourself. We have this tendency to equate understanding with, I don't know what we equate it with, or we hope that with understanding comes clarity or a deeper sense of self. And I think what we have to do is trust that if we are interested in understanding that more deeply, then it will reveal itself. If we can just kind of be patient and hold it gently.
Yeah.
And I think imposing the intellect on it, certainly what I heard in that conversation was a sense of desperation. If I figure this out, if I can only figure this out, it'll be better, whatever it is. And so I think a tool or a technique that might be useful is this holding the question, is this true? And then how do I feel?
Yeah.
So your intellect is going 100 miles an hour trying to figure it out. Okay, how's that feel? Not good. Okay. What does that mean? Does that mean anything? Is there a sense of, is there a signal in the way that I'm doing it doesn't feel good?
You're making me, I think that's really important, and something that I don't think I've articulated before, but I've been sort of feeling is that the closer I get to the truth,
yeah,
the smaller the story gets.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, when I was studying Buddhism does a great job of sort of deconstructing everything. Like, you meditate until you realize that even the ego is just a thought that's arising. And you're not that you're like aiming for something, but like what you hear happens is you get to a point where it's just like poof. Oh, there's just awareness. And even that sense of I is just an idea popping into my head. But at the same time, there's like there's different Buddhas and like deity figures that you can pray to that have different aspects to themselves. And like, cool, that's beautiful, but that's a really complicated story.
Right.
Like, which version of this thing were you? That was one of the problems that I had with Buddhism that I never sort of resolved in my head. And this is not to say there isn't an answer, just that I didn't get there. Like, either we're pointing to there's nothing, or we're pointing to there's this whole sort of cosmology of things happening. And the complicated stories don't seem to be getting me anywhere.
No.
And I'm finding a similar thing happening in the yoga I'm studying. Like, there's lineage of gurus, there's different practices. And one of the things that's resonated with this book, The Energy Codes, is like, yeah, there's still a bit of a story. We are all energy. I guess that's a story. But they're more sort of premises. And like you say, when I just ask, like, does that sound true? How does that feel? Yeah, it feels simple and it feels easy. And I kind of know what to do next, which is just, like you said, feel more. And there's a beautiful simplicity in not having dogma or sort of cultural,
absolutely,
anything. Just like, it's just feel your way through it. Trust, allow, trust, flow,
whatever the language is.
Yeah. Just go with it. And yeah, everything gets much easier.
When you first pose that question of, how do you do it or how do you get there? It's like, my instinct is like, fucking time, man. Just like
All right.
be patient. But that's not a good answer, right? That still points to something external to yourself. And, what's the answer is looking inside and being okay with what you see.
Yeah. I think, Singer says,
Like,
Michael Singer, he says the only thing you have to do is relax and release. Like whatever you are resisting, every time you notice it, just like lean back and let it go.
Well, and the other thing that I really like that I heard from him recently, or you pointed out is it doesn't matter. That question, are you in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. That's it. Right. So, are you in there? Yes, I'm in here. Oh, what is the I? How's that feel? Not good. Okay. Are you in there? Yes. How's that feel? That feels good. But what does it mean? How's that feel? Not good. So, I think that, words like trust come up, words like patience and gentleness come up, words like, faith in sort of a non-religious way.
Yeah.
Right. Not that I'm giving myself over to something, but that if I sort of, I hate to use a Bushism, stay the course, then things will reveal themselves.
I wasn't expecting that to come up.
Yeah, no. It's just like, or was it Bush? I think it was Bush. Man, who knows? Doesn't matter. That if you have, so this gentleman in our group who is clearly looking in the direction, and if he persists in looking in the direction, he will find what he's looking for. It's just a question of how long it will take him to release the importance of him or his I, intellect, ego, whatever it is, right? Like back to Singer, relax and release. And I think that is fucking hard. It's been really hard for me. It's easy now. It's easy now. And in fact, I feel like in some ways I've become the poster child for like, fuck the intellect. But I don't know, like, what do you mean? I don't know. But there's something to be said, I think, for not looking outside of yourself for answers.
Yeah. And I think like I've gone through the same process he has, and I'm in a way still doing it, but I think the realizing like I don't just need a better story.
Yeah.
Like that's not like, oh, this story was almost it.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Oh, this one's
close.
It's an even better story.
The next thing will be the thing.
Yeah, I just need the perfect story. Yeah. No, your story is right there, and you could just be in it. I don't know how to articulate it, but like,
well, sorry, go ahead.
It's like, we know how to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like our natural state outside of the mind is like, we know how to be this thing that we are striving to be.
I would even clean that up a little bit and say, it's not that we are it.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Right. Take the intellect out of the equation, and what you're left with is
we are what you are. You're it. You're it. And we all know that.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? Like, what's the cost of knowing that? Oh, I don't get to be as important. I don't get to be right. I don't get, like, there's a cost. It depends on how you look at it, right? Yeah. There's, you do lose some level of self-identity. I mean, not really. I feel like I've gained more self-identity by giving up the intellectual pursuit. But I think for someone like the gentleman who's, for all of us who are looking, who are inclined to look beyond thinking, beyond into what are we really, and maybe that'll come up as a topic. I think we all inherently know that there's more to us than what we see in the mirror. And I think my guess is all of us have had experiences that lend themselves to knowing that.
Yeah.
And it's a question of, how much resistance do you want to put up before you eventually go, kind of known this all along.
Right.
Could have saved myself a lot of time, like if I'd only been like, whatever it is, if I'd relaxed more, if I'd released more, I could have saved myself 2 years or
20 years of trying to figure this stuff out.
Well, the good news is they say that if you have just one moment of that realization, then the rest of your life doesn't matter so much. And it's even if it takes 80 years to get there, it'll have been worth it.
Yeah, and I think I hold the belief, and I know this is a belief, but I hold the belief that we all do. You know, we all kind of come to, you know, maybe in the moment of our dying, but I you know, sort of jokingly hold this idea that we all get there eventually. You know,
well, spiritual traditions that believe in reincarnation say that's definitely true. It just may not be in this go around.
Well,
but you can't avoid it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't avoid it. Yeah, can't avoid it. Go back to where you came. But I can't think of a tradition that looks in the direction that we're talking about that doesn't say look within, or that doesn't say, you know, it'll some version of just chill, dude. You'll get there. You know, like I don't know why this have you heard of the whirling dervishes?
Yeah.
Right. So what do? They fucking spin around in a circle really fast until something shit. Well, I'm dizzy. Well, it be that as it may, but they're not looking, you know, and even those who teach others, in my opinion, those who teach others about this stuff well, don't say, listen to my words. They say, listen to how it feels within you.
Yeah.
So we're always being pointed back to look within, look within, look within. And for some reason, we fucking resist it.
Yeah.
Like for thousands of years, they've been telling us to look within. And we go, no, but you tell me. Right? The Buddhists have the answer. The Hindus have you know, the Christian, like everyone has the answer, but me.
Right.
You know, like, well, no, you're just feeling unsettled right now. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that anyone else knows anything that you don't. It's just that you can't see within yourself that it's there already.
There's something so beautiful about that. That's like, and I think that's what I was trying to say before, is like, we know this.
Yeah.
We know it.
Yeah.
And every part of our mind says that we don't.
That's right.
And that the answer is
it tries to convince us that, yeah.
And in my own, I have been the guy in our meeting who was trying to, you know, you've heard me ask, you know, tell you whatever latest thing I'm studying.
Yeah.
I've been so excited that like now I have the answer.
Yeah.
You were always very polite about it. But the look on your face is also like, yeah, this too shall pass. But yeah, the more you remove those stories,
yeah,
the more you reduce them to the experience you're having, the closer you get to,
I think so,
feeling and embodying, you know, the truth of what we are. And
I think so.
Beautiful.
I think that and maybe to put that in a nutshell, like, I don't know that I've ever thought, oh, I get it now. Mm. I have felt that, but I've never thought my way to, oh.
That's funny. See, I have thought, but it didn't make me feel good.
Right. Okay. Well,
I've been perfectly convinced that I figured the whole thing out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good. Fair distinction.
Now what?
Fair distinction.
Nothing's changed.
Right. Fair distinction.
Yeah, it's just ego being like, it's basically ChatGPT being like, you're a genius.
Right.
Figured this out before. Yeah, it's like your mind doing it. Your mind was sycophantic before ChatGPT was.
That's funny. So what were we answering there? Well, there was no question, right? It was just an exploration of I guess we kind of we're brushing up against that question. Who are we really?
Yeah, I think let's do that one. Mike, we have a whiteboard with topics. That's where Mike keeps looking over there. For possibly months now, we've had who you really are, or who we really are up there.
It's been there for a bit.
And I keep resisting it because I'm not sure what to say, but I feel like I'm getting closer. And maybe this episode is a good segue. Let's let's get these up, and maybe we'll do that next time and see where it goes.
I know what we're not.
Don't spoil it.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
We're not the intellect.
Oh, okay. I can
We're not our personal thinking.
All right. I feel like
there. Yeah. Spoiler.
Everyone's on board for that. All right.
Yeah.
Why don't we leave it there?
Cool.
Some food for thought for everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Who we really are.
That was fun.
All right. Yeah.